Guys, yes, as we head into week 6 of fantasy football, the landscape is ever evolving. Week 5 brought us more changes, honestly, than week 4. Now is the time to make trades, to sell high, to buy low. Start honestly thinking about playoffs. If you're 5-0, start thinking about winning now. This week is the only thing that matters. If you're 0-5, 1-4, we are going through 10 plus players to trade for, 10 plus players to trade away. At the end of the episode, I'm actually going to answer some questions in the No Expert Fantasy Football Discord from you guys, from my subscribers. So let us just begin. We will start at the quarterback position. We have a couple of players, trade for, trade away, every position. So you guys loved this episode last week, and we are just going to keep it rolling. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is kind of what to do depending on what your record is. Like I said kind of before, if you're 0-5, 1-4, honestly, 2-3, you have to be trading for players that have good matchups this week, that their bye weeks are really not going to impact you too much. Okay, 2 quarterbacks who kind of fit that mold are Jordan Love and Caleb Williams. Now, these guys were on bye last week. And by the way, it literally is as simple as Googling NFL bye weeks, looking, who's had their bye, if their bye is coming. For example, if you're trading for a quarterback whose bye is next week and you're 0-5, 1-4, you probably don't want to be doing that. So for Caleb Williams and Jordan Love, these are 2 guys I'm very interested in. Mainly because, they've already been producing this year. I honestly think they're top 12, top 15, top 10 at the position with QB1 overall weekly ceiling. These are 2 stud quarterbacks. We look at Jordan Love's last 3 games, 26 points, then he had 12 points against that tough Cleveland defense, then 20 against Washington. He gets Cincinnati this week. Then he's at Arizona, at Pittsburgh, Carolina. The next month of Jordan Love, I'm not concerned with. So think he'll be a QB1 in that span. And then Caleb Williams coming out of the bye. We've seen these flashes of greatness. 2 games already, over 24 fantasy points. One of those, week 1, his first game with Ben Johnson against Minnesota's defense, who, they're very good. Struggled against Las Vegas. Max Crosby really got to him. It was pretty insane to see, honestly. But look at this schedule. Washington, New Orleans, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Giants, Minnesota, again, where he cooked them, like I said, in week 1. So Caleb Williams, I really, really think, he's my QB5 rest of season, QB6, QB7, always in that range with the Justin Herberts. And I don't think people consider him that level of a fantasy football asset yet. So definitely a guy we should be trading for. Now, kind of just more on the buy low side, the next quarterback I want to talk about is Kyler Murray. There is so much negative media surrounding the Cardinals at the moment. And, I said this about Caleb Williams when the season started, especially after his week 2 game where they lost. I think they were 0-2 or whatever. You have to separate the real life narratives and the fantasy football facts. You have to do that. You can use these real life narratives for your advantage. And that is what we will do with the Cardinals with Kyler Murray. Because the fantasy football facts about Kyler Murray tell us this. When we look at his career log, look at this. A full season of games, 14 or more games played in his career, he has never finished lower than a top 10 QB. So assuming he plays 14, 15, 16, 17 games this year, I would be very surprised if he does not finish top 12. Right now he's QB 17. The entire world thinks that the Cardinals are god-awful. And honestly, they might be. They are not a great football team. Doesn't matter for us. The next 2 matchups are not amazing. At Indianapolis and then against Green Bay. But then out of the bye, you have at Dallas. That's the best matchup in football, in fantasy. You have at Seattle. Baker just cooked them for 30 points. You have San Francisco, who the defense doesn't look amazing, honestly. With Joey Bosa out, they're beatable. Jacksonville, Mahomes just put up 30 points. Tampa Bay, Sam Darnold just put up 25 points on them. Okay, so the schedule opens up. This is a trade candidate, Kyler Murray, especially in Superflex, if you have a winning record. Even 3-2, 4-1, 5-0. You can be like, we're going to talk about some guys to trade away the second half of this episode. But there are people, right? We just look at our top scoring quarterbacks over here. There are people, Matthew Stafford, Daniel Jones, Baker Mayfield. You could be sending these guys. Now, would I prefer Baker to Kyler rest of season? Maybe. Okay, probably. But would I prefer Kyler and a wide receiver 2, a strong wide receiver 2, to Baker and a flex? For sure. So these are the type of moves to be considering, okay? Believe we have a couple more quarterbacks here. We have Bryce Young. Yeah, okay. With Bryce Young, I really think that Jalen Coker, when he comes back to this offense, is going to open things up for Bryce Young. We look at the games Coker was active last year. Okay, he's been on IR. These games here, now he wasn't dominating necessarily, okay, but look at the snaps. 87% of snaps, 82, 87, 93 to finish the season here. 3 of his last 4 games, Coker, he had 5+ targets. And we go back and we look at, a lot of people forget what Bryce Young did to close last season. Where is he? Look at this. He was a top 6 quarterback here. After his bye weeks, weeks 12 through 18, he was top 6. I'll read you his point finishes: 16.5, 23.6, 13.5, 13.9. So again, nothing crazy, but then 27, 17, 36 points at Atlanta. So we've seen Bryce Young play at a top 10 quarterback level. McMillan looks very good. He is very legit. Okay, I'm not sure if we're going to discuss McMillan in this episode, but if we don't, he is also a trade for target, because after this matchup with Dallas this week, I mean, even if it doesn't go as planned, even if they don't dominate, even if Bryce Young doesn't throw 6 touchdowns against the worst fantasy football defense that there is, he's still going to have a good day, even if it's mediocre. Then the Jets, then Buffalo. We just saw Drake May play well against them. At Green Bay, you absolutely hate that. But then New Orleans, Atlanta, we mentioned San Fran. Like, the schedule's not that bad. You get the Week 14 bye right before your playoffs, and then you have New Orleans, Tampa Bay. So this is a guy where, I have Jared Goff in my league. I might be looking to move off of Goff for Bryce Young so I can upgrade my lineup elsewhere. I think these are kind of lateral moves. And again, the real-life media, the fantasy football media, they hate this guy. They will tell you that Bryce Young is the worst quarterback ever. I will simply direct you to last year, where we have a 2-month sample size of top 10 quarterback play. I believe he was QB6 to close the season. I see a good schedule coming. I see rookies developing. I see weapons on the way. I see a good running game. Okay, those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on Bryce Young, and I'm not afraid to say these things because we shall see. Our last quarterback I want to discuss is Jayden Daniels, and he kind of reminds me of the first running back we're going to discuss, who is Jahmyr Gibbs. Spoiler alert, but we got to be trading for these elite guys. I mean, Jayden Daniels can go ahead and finish as the best quarterback in fantasy. Jahmyr Gibbs can go ahead and finish as the RB1 in fantasy. Neither of those guys are competing necessarily right now. I mean, I won't even show you where Jayden Daniels is in total points because it's irrelevant. He missed 1 or 2 games, whatever. But he can be right up here with Allen, Mahomes, Mayfield. We look at the schedule for Daniels: Chicago, Dallas, Kansas City, Seattle, Detroit. I mean, it's out of control. Honestly, it's one of the best schedules that is available for QB. If you can pay anything less than elite QB price, you're sending Baker, you're sending Stafford, you're sending May, Daniel Jones, you're sending Herbert, you're sending all these guys for Daniels. A lot of people will do that. Getting into the running back position, very similar for Jahmyr Gibbs. We'll look at our top scorers here. Okay, in half PPR. It's very simple. Gibbs is my RB1 rest of season. I think the only player I'd prefer, honestly, is Puka. So that means I'm not necessarily sending McCaffrey or Bijan for Gibbs. They're kind of in that tier 1 for me. But when we look at these guys, Jonathan Taylor, Javonte Williams, James Cook, Achane, Kyren, we'll talk about some of those guys later on. I want to send them for Gibbs and something. I want Gibbs and a flex for Taylor. Give me that. Give me Gibbs and a flex. We see David Montgomery throwing touchdowns, getting touchdowns, whatever, 2 touchdowns here. I'm good. Been here before. 3 straight years now. If we go all the way back to his rookie season when Gibbs dominated that second half. Okay, 3 straight years now of this Monty versus Gibbs. Oh, Monty's there. I don't know. Let me just direct you back, okay, to 2024. Let's do this. Because this is a good exercise. A lot of people forget this. 2024, weeks 1 through 18, PPR running back. There he is. Okay, no running back is better than Jahmyr Gibbs. Saquon Barkley, weeks 1 through 17 was better. Gibbs had 46 points in week 18. I'm including it. I don't care. Gibbs he reminds me of the JSN of the running back position, where he's in that conversation. He's, knock on wood, gonna play 17 games. The injury risk is low. The offense is great. He catches passes. He's involved everywhere. Don't care that, he only plays 52% of the snaps sometimes. Doesn't matter. So if you can do anything to get Jahmyr Gibbs on your team, do that. Okay, the next guy I want to talk about is Achane, just another kind of elite guy who is falling by the wayside when we're looking at the top scoring running backs so far in fantasy. You see him here at number 6. I feel like a lot of people don't realize how good he's been. Again, a lot of drama with the Dolphins. They're awful. Tua's the worst. Tyreek Hill's out for the season. Jalen Waddle, Darren Waller. No one's talking about Achane and his 87% of snaps. 76% in week 4. That's 77 in week 3. 93% in week 2. Not seeing much injury concern. I'm looking at 17 plus opportunities in the last 4 weeks. One of the most explosive players in fantasy. We've yet to see, his vintage 60-yard touchdown. And I think it's coming. This is a guy who, I'd be trading Taylor, I'd be trading Cook, I'd be trading these overperformers, Kyren, even Saquon, Etienne, Dobbins, Genty. I'd be trading these guys. And, I think I'd prefer Taylor over Achane rest of season. But again, we go back to this conversation. We always say it. I would prefer Achane and Ricky Pearsall to Jonathan Taylor. I view the RB move in that as lateral, and I view just a free flex coming along. And there's a lot of people who would make those trades. So Achane is a guy that's very interesting. Again, we've talked about this young man for 3 straight weeks now. It is Quinshon Judkins, 20-plus opportunities in the last 3 games. He had a 56-yard touchdown called back while a lot of you West Coasters were sound asleep, dreaming of sugar plums. Quinshon Judkins was housing one for 56 yards in London. It was called back. I get it. It was a hold. It doesn't matter. Listen, 80-plus rush yards in every single game as the starter. 2 touchdowns in that span in the last 3 games. He is an absolute workhorse running back. The schedule's very good. Pittsburgh, Miami, New England. In the bye week, he only gets better coming out of that. Jets, Baltimore, Vegas, San Fran, Tennessee, Chicago, Buffalo, Pittsburgh. There was quite literally not one. There was not one game that I am concerned with Quinshon Judkins. He was top 12 for me rest of season last week. Most likely top 10. Most likely top 10 rest of season. So seriously, nothing to even be concerned about here. Rookie running back, as good as they come. You'll remember before the injuries, before the legal drama, round 5, round 6 pick, rightfully so. Okay, a couple more running backs. We'll get into some rapid fire, but this one's pretty simple. We look at Breece Hall. Look at the top performing running backs here. He's RB22 right now in total points. I think he's more of a top 15 guy. It's an easy buy. Left the game with a little injury in week 5 against Dallas. Don't really care. 155 yards from scrimmage. The Denver matchup kind of stinks, but then you get Carolina, Cincinnati. All in on Breece Hall. Top 15, top 12 rest of season. We like to talk about players that are differently priced. We're talking about Gibbs and Achane. Let me bring this back down to some really easily acquirable players, and I do think Woody Marks is one of them. Woody Marks was literally my biggest miss in my home league. I traded every player away because I had Woody in the flex, and I'm good. Let me upgrade elsewhere. All those players got hurt. I have no flex this week because Woody is on bye, and I just thought he was going to be really great because last week, 22 opportunities. Then the coach came out and said after his 2 touchdowns that he'd get more work. Then I saw the Baltimore matchup, 32nd best in the league. Okay, best matchup for running backs. And what does he do? 2.4 points. It looks awful. But if we look at Chubb, okay, the Texans put up 40 points. We look at Chubb, 11 attempts, ran very well, got the touchdown, 12 opportunities, okay? So he had 12 opportunities. Woody had 8. When you look at the snaps before the 4th quarter, before Dameon Pierce went in, who was the clear RB3, the snaps were actually very similar. 39% here for Woody Marks and only 34% for Nick Chubb. So a lot of people think Chubb is back, Chubb's the lead back. I actually don't think so. I just think Woody got really unlucky in this game, and they have come out and said they're going to ride the hot hand, and it's kind of going to be a 50-50 split. I will take the Woody Marks side of that split every time on my bench. You can get him as a throw-in to trades. I'm looking to do that, okay? A very cheap guy to acquire. Another one who is now kind of just falling out of RB3 conversation is Chase Brown. This schedule opens up as well. After Green Bay, Pittsburgh, Jets, then Chicago, then the bye. Pittsburgh again. You get Baltimore in there week 13, Baltimore again week 15. The schedule really just opens up. He had 8 targets last game. 8 targets, guys. This is more than most of our wide receiver twos. This is A.J. Brown level targets. So you can get him again as a throw-in. I don't really want to start Chase Brown at all, but put him on the bench. And then eventually maybe they trade for Russ. Maybe they trade for Jameis. Maybe Jake Browning starts to play a little bit better like we saw in week 5. This is a guy we can just buy so low. Couple more running backs, TreVeyon Henderson. We have Antonio Gibson out for the year. And, at some point, the Ramondre fumbling is going to cost the Patriots some games. He fumbles literally every game. It's insane. Henderson has never fumbled. This is a real stat in his last 700 touches. It's a real stat. There's no video of him fumbling, okay? You can't find it for me. Fumbling and losing it. You cannot find that video. And, again, we need to just be betting on rookies down the stretch. Henderson is one of, if not the best running back in the class. Obviously, we have Genty, but outside of that, it's like Henderson or Judkins, kind of. And Vrabel's going to give him the work, I really believe, coming out of this first half of the season. I think it's going to go back. I think Henderson is going to get more work. We look at it, only 9 opportunities. We go to Ramondre, 9 opportunities on 50% of snaps, half the snaps. We go to Ramondre, 9 opportunities on 52% of the snaps. So it seems like doom and gloom here for TreVeyon. It's not. It really is 50-50, and we bet on the better player every single time. That's what we do on this channel. That's what my subscribers and followers do. And that's how we win our leagues. Now, Trey Benson, this, again, guys we can just go get for free. Trey Benson, I would be trading for Trey Benson. DeMercado is like being banished by the coaching staff. Bam Knight's a nice player. He's irrelevant. We look at Michael Carter. He had a great game. Should have been Trey Benson. I'm all upset about it, okay? So one of those guys who I had on my team in this the Woody Marks League where I'm like, oh, nice, okay, I got Trey Benson. Like, let me just trade everybody. Yeah. Anyway, let me look up Michael Carter. I believe he had like 20 opportunities. Yeah, 23 opportunities. But again, under 3 a carry against basically the worst rush defense in the league, the Tennessee Titans. He got it done, caught all 5 targets. It should be Trey Benson. It tells me when Trey Benson comes back, he's going to be very good. We look at when he's coming back. He already missed 1 game. Great. Colts in week 6, that's 2 games. Packers, cool. We'll skip that matchup. Wouldn't want to start you anyway. That's 3 games. The bye week, unfortunately, misses Dallas, comes back against Seattle. Maybe we're not starting him there, but then week 11, San Fran, Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, the Rams, that's tough. Houston, Atlanta, Cincinnati, like, it's a fine schedule. If you're undefeated right now, 4-1, even 3-2, you got an open IR spot, you got bench pieces, you want to make some room, I would go get Trey Benson. And then we will move into our wide receiver buys. Marvin Harrison is one of them. He is a victim of Drew Petzig. This guy cannot call an offense to save his life. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. Marvin Harrison is good. I'll say it, he's good. I'm seeing flashes the last 2-3 games, even week 1 with the touchdown. I've seen flashes more times than I have not of greatness, of a true wide receiver 1. He had this bomb catch 70 yards down the field down at the 1. He gets in the end zone there. We're looking at 20 fantasy points. And this is with an incapable play caller. So they are going to lean more into Marvin. I believe that. I think he's more of a wide receiver 2, low-end wide receiver 2 to close the season, going as a flex. We look where he's scoring right now. So he's at wide receiver 20. So it's actually where I think he would be. But a lot of people don't realize that. He's been pretty good. I mean, right next to Zay Flowers, Nico, a lot of people are taking those guys over him. A lot of people are taking Keenan Allen over him. Fair enough. Maybe I would look to trade Keenan for Marvin plus. Things like that. Moving right along to Stefon Diggs, and it just looks like he's back to form. I don't know what else to say. 16 targets in the last 2 games. That's 8 a game. Obviously, we had the revenge game against Buffalo. 19 targets. I meant to say he had 16 catches, 8 catches a game. So that's a baseline of 8 fantasy points. Then you get the yards. Maybe you get a touchdown. And he's just dominating. Looks fully healthy. Clearly the best wide receiver here. And he's really unlocking Drake May's ceiling, which is a nice thing. I think he's a wide receiver too, honestly, rest of season. So long as he's healthy, you can definitely get him for way cheaper. He's coming in right now, wide receiver 24, basically not even playing for 3 games here to start the season. He could even be pushing for high-end wide receiver 2 if we keep this going. The schedule's very good. Even Cleveland in week 8, you cannot run against them. I don't see any weak parts on this schedule. You get Buffalo again in week 15 for fantasy playoffs. Okay. Tetairoa Mcmillan is the next guy, 8+ targets in every single game. He's coming in at wide receiver 27 in our total scorers. Okay? He is going to finish the season better than wide receiver 27. It might be wide receiver 20 with a few huge games, but it will happen. It's what I talked about with Bryce Young. Jalen Coker will come back. McMillan will have some room on the field finally. The schedule's pretty good. Dallas, Jets, Buffalo, Green Bay stinks, but then New Orleans, Atlanta, who, they're not that good, San Fran. So there's a couple games that I don't love, but the fantasy playoffs are great. New Orleans, Tampa Bay, and then Seattle. I'm very much in on McMillan. You got to be betting on these rookies down the stretch. He is a guy. Next up, Ricky Pearsall, who, he is an air yards dominator. He is look at these yards per catch, 27, 14, 14.6. Just an absolute monster out there, and coming in at wide receiver 37 in total points because he missed last week with the injury. He's had a full, basically 2 weeks to recover. He gets Tampa Bay this week. We just saw what JSN Sam Darnold did to Tampa Bay. If he's fully healthy, I want him. I want Ricky Pearsall, and then I want to go pick up Kendrick Bourne on waivers because it's kind of just like a little handcuff situation. Oh, Pearsall's out? All right, Kendrick Bourne, get in there. Second-year wide receiver, first-round pedigree. He reminds me of Ayuk that season before we all thought Ayuk was this monster, where you would just put Ayuk in the lineup and you're getting 13 points. He gets a touchdown. Cool. It's 20. You're never getting lower than 10 points. Obviously I'm looking at 9.2 and 8.6, but you get what I'm saying. That's the type of player that I view Pearsall as, just a very, very good flex. With the injuries, we have a bye window, so I would get in there. A couple more elite guys, supposedly. We look at A.J. Brown now. He has 22.9 points in week 3. Any other games here? Yeah, going all the way back to last year. He finished kind of strong, but just, I don't know, not the most amazing kind of finish here. So we look at this is 2024, and let me just find him. Yeah, he's all the way down at wide receiver, 43 so far this year. He's going to finish higher than that. These numbers are not so bad. Here are the PPR points last year. 15.9, 11.5, 23, 11, 8, it sucks. 25 is great, 23 is great. This is very good, but again, this is a top 15 player in drafts, and you kind of want a little more consistency. We move now to this year, and it's just been even worse. He's had one good game where they force-fed him targets, but I'm looking at these target numbers, and it's 8+ a game. They're not on the same page. Bit of an attitude problem. Okay, I don't really like to speak that way because it's you never know what's going on, and we all have attitude problems sometimes, right? But he just seems unhappy. We saw DeVonta Smith eating, and that's kind of what I'll lead into, is there have been signs that this is going to turn around, because when I see DeVonta Smith, 8 catches, 114 yards, that tells me that Jalen Hurts is capable of getting this man the ball. In fact, they missed by inches on this long touchdown play that would have been. He played Denver, okay? Pat Surtain is one of the best defenses in the league. And look at the schedule. Giants, Minnesota Giants, Green Bay out of the bye. They'll be ready for that game. It's a tough one. Detroit, Dallas, Chicago. Give me this. I want A.J. Brown in my wide receiver 2 slot. And there's some players I'd be willing to trade away for him. We'll get into them in a minute. And then finally, last wide receiver trade target we have here is Ceedee Lamb. For obvious reasons, maybe I can count on one hand the guys I prefer over him. Honestly, you don't even need all 5 fingers. JSN, in no order, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then Puka Nacua. It's kind of it for who I'd prefer over him rest of season. So he's going to be coming back week 7 most likely. I'd be trading basically anything outside of those guys. We'll take a look at some running backs to trade away and stuff like that for him. And then one other guy I wanted to mention at the tight end position is the only guy we'll mention. It's Brock Bowers. If you're 5-0, 4-1, 3-2, you need to be trading for Bowers, and you need to be assuming he's returning week 9 here. I don't know when he will return. He's probably missing week 6 since he was called week to week in week 5. So here's 1 week, here's another week, and then do they say, let's just hold you out 1 more week, give you the bye? They might. That's a full month where you have no Bowers, but he's recovering for 4 weeks. Shout out Dr. Morris on Twitter and Dr. Deepak Chona. They say, 4 weeks. You got to think Puka with that knee injury he had a couple years ago. Or maybe it was last year, I forget. But where you need 4 or 5 games, 3 games to really recover. He comes back week 9. He's going to dominate. Look at his floor. You have a floor of 9 fantasy points. It doesn't sound like a lot, but you have a floor of 5 targets, 6 targets. At the tight end position, yeah. When you have 1 leg and you're putting up 10 points a game, that's kind of what you want to be doing. For sure. He's going to come back and absolutely dominate. A priority trade target. His value, it literally has never been lower. He is an absolute monster. Let's just remind you what he did last year. Look at these target totals. 16, 10, 14, 5, 6, okay, 2 floor games, no big deal. 13, 7, 9. This is a guy who's going to go out and get 14 targets for you. You got to be trading for Bowers. If you have him, hold him. Do not let him go. Let's talk about some guys who I'd be willing to move on from. We will transition into the trade away portion of the show. And yes, Baker Mayfield kicks us off. And I do just a quick note. It's with the trade aways, it's not, how do I put this? It's not like, get this guy off your team. He's the worst. He's awful. Any player is a trade away. Any player is a trade for. I mean, let's just say, Josh Allen could be a trade away if you're giving me Mahomes and you're giving me Hurts and you're giving me Justin Jefferson. Like, any deal, any player can be a trade for, can be a trade away. Completely depends on the deal. But here are some players who I'd be willing to maybe sell high on. Baker's one of them, coming in at QB3 right now. Do I think he finishes top 10? Probably. Top 12? I'm relatively certain based on what I've seen this year. Mike Evans coming back, Godwin ramping up. But when we look at the guys kind of behind him who are not performing, Baker for Lamar, if I have a winning record, sure. Baker for Herbert plus, sure. Those type of moves. Baker for Caleb and a lot, yes. Okay, if I have a losing record, Baker for Love. Like we talked about these guys where you can send your overperforming player for a somewhat lateral move and some. I love to make those moves, especially if we have a losing record. Matthew Stafford and Daniel Jones, just two more guys. We've been talking, I'll actually start with Jones. We've been talking about Jones for a couple weeks now. Just been mediocre the last 3 weeks. 15.8 points, 12.4, 16.7. Just very middle of the road. QB numbers still sitting at QB8. You can move off Daniel Jones still. It really is your last chance. It really is your last chance. Herbert, Goff, Nix, Fields. Literally anybody. Williams and Love. Jones, goodbye. For Stafford, I think Stafford actually will continue to be great. It's just the injury risk with Matthew Stafford. He had the back issues all of offseason. Everything looks good right now until it doesn't, okay? The bye is week 8. That's awesome. You have the Baltimore matchup this week. He's probably going to dominate. But if you could maybe move off of him, I would for these guys we're talking about. And that's really it. I'm not going to sit here and act like he's not great. Not going to sit here and act like he's got to go off your roster. But with these older players, any position who are dominating, you could always look for a bit of a safer option who's underperforming. We'll move into the RBs. We talked about Taylor a ton. Again, don't want him necessarily off my roster. Half of you are going to be like, this guy's crazy. Jonathan Taylor's crushing for me. Cool. I get it. Like, seriously, totally fine. If I had Taylor on my roster, I probably wouldn't be trying to trade him. But can we send him for Bijan plus, who already had his bye? If we're a 500 team, losing team, yeah, I would do that. Can we send him for Gibbs plus? Absolutely. Would I want to send him for McCaffrey? McCaffrey's awesome, but the injury risk is there. Taylor's a top 3, top 4 running back for me rest of season, top 6 player overall. It's just the hat trick touchdown games are not going to be happening, every other week as we've seen for the last 4 weeks. So I'd be looking to move. It's very similar with James Cook. I told you last week, get rid of James Cook for those top 3 running backs, right? 4.9 points in week 5. It's not like a victory lap, but it's just, I still prefer James Cook over 99% of running backs, but it's just these things where we have to be looking to do. Taylor has the injury history. Daniel Jones started hot. I think he regresses. It's just my thoughts on Taylor. Always looking to be trading for those truly elite studs who have done it season after season after season with minimal risk, things like that. Kyren Williams is simply overperforming, 91% of snaps here in week 5. I don't think that continues. We saw the Blake Corum fumble, and they just gave Kyren, everything from that point on. I think that Kyren comes back down to earth. 10 targets is an outlier. 14 attempts is great. Dominated San Fran. Got in the end zone twice with 2 receiving touchdowns. I would try to sell high, even ahead of this Baltimore matchup. If you want to keep him for Baltimore, he's dominating for you. Cool. But guys I'd be looking to acquire. We talked about them in the running back portion before this. But yeah, give me Javonte. Give me James Cook. Give me Jonathan Taylor. Give me literally all these guys. Give me Achane. Saquon, for sure, you can definitely do that. Give me Genty rest of season, because when Corum comes back and he's out of the doghouse a little bit and the snaps is more, 35% for Corum, Kyren will come back down. I think J.K. Dobbins is also just really overperforming. We look at the touchdowns, 4 in 5 games for J.K. R.J. Harvey's looked really good on his limited opportunities when they give him the ball, and there's just so many weapons on this team. You have Sutton, Franklin, Ingram, Mims, Dobbins. I mentioned, what's his name? RJ Harvey, Tyler Bidet. They just give him touches. It just makes no sense. So I don't know. Got in the end zone against Philly. Would have had his worst game of the season if he didn't. Would have had under 10 points. The schedule's good. Like, I think a lot of people view him as a top 15, top 12 guy. I don't. And you can trade him for that value. Achane is a guy who I'd be looking to go get with Dobbins. Even like a Jacory after his breakout. Jacory plus for Dobbins. Derrick Henry, Quinshon Judkins. I don't even like Henry that much, but it's the type of moves I'd be trying to make. We see these rookies just start dominating in the back half of the season. I think Harvey will kind of be the next guy to do that. Travis Etienne, mentioned him last week as a trade away. Literally, his signed jersey is hanging behind me. He's basically my favorite player of all time. If I'm telling you to trade him away, I might have a feeling about it. Over 4 carry last night, still 16 plus opportunities. That's great, but didn't have his long touchdown run that he's had in the last 2 games. He had a long touchdown catch in week 2, or I shouldn't say long, but a long run, and then a touchdown catch where he's had these big plays, had a couple big plays in week 1, 140 yards against Carolina. So it's just like he's very big play dependent. He is a good RB2. If you can trade him off of his RB10 current value in total points for an Achane, okay, I'd be looking to do that. For a Genty, for a Judkins, we talked about these guys. For a Breece, I'd be looking to make those moves. Cam Skattebo's next. We have Tyrone Tracy coming back. And it's really just like, if Skattebo doesn't score, I don't know how much he's giving you. Now, 7+ targets in 2 of the last 3 games, that's great. When Tracy's back, I feel like he's going to get more of that work. The snaps were 68%. That's a great number. You still have a chance to sell high on Skattebo. I think he's more of a good flex rest of season, and you can move off of him for a Travis Etienne, who you can then move off of for a Breece or something along those lines. Or you can cash in on Skattebo for RB2 value. I think he's more of a flex, but here he is, RB22 right now after basically not playing these first couple weeks. I mean, if we were to adjust this filter for the last 3 weeks, right, last 4 weeks, he'd be top 20 for sure. I think he's more of a flex. Jaylen Warren is up next. Now, he had his bye, so it makes him much more valuable. And when he's been healthy, he's been very valuable, very good. But Kenny Gainwell looked awesome. They've been working him in. They love to give him the rock. At some point, maybe we have Caleb Johnson get some more work. So Warren, if we just switch this to kind of points per game here, and this isn't standard points. I don't know why Fantasy Pros even offers that. But if we look at the average points here, he's got to be up here. Let me just look. Jaylen Warren's RB18. Think you can trade him for, good RB2 value, and I do think he's more of a flex rest of season. So that's where I'm at with Jaylen Warren. Gets Cleveland this week, Green Bay in a couple weeks. Yeah, I'm kind of out on Warren. We move into the wide receivers, and nothing against this guy. I just raved about him in our previous video on the channel and how good he is. But Emeka Egbuka, I don't think he finishes wide receiver 3. Sorry, it's not a crazy thing to say. Top 12? Yeah, most likely, but give me Garrett for Egbuka. Give me Pickens. Give me Quentin Johnston. Give me Rome. Give me Cortland. And a lot of those guys, you can get those players plus for Egbuka before Evans comes back. We have San Fran this week. Nice matchup. Detroit, New Orleans. Then the bye week. It looks great. He is very good. I love this guy for my teams. He's a strong wide receiver 2. I want to be trading him for a wide receiver 1. Now, just mentioned Garrett as a guy I'd trade Egbuka for. I'm actually looking to move off of Garrett. I don't think at the same time, so this is what I'm talking about. It all depends on the deal. I don't think this continues, this wide receiver 5 pace. We look at these games here, okay? Week 1, he was awesome with Fields against Pittsburgh, okay? Week 2, awful with Fields. Awful against Buffalo, where I just watched Stefon Diggs carve them up like a Thanksgiving turkey, okay? Then in week 3, we had Tyrod Taylor. Then in week 4, at Miami, I hope you have a good game. Then in week 5, Dallas, the greatest matchup that exists. So he's had 4 starts with Fields. 1 has been awful. 2 have been good, legit good. So half of them, legit good. And 1 is like inflated good, where you have to do well against Dallas. So we have Denver coming up. Carolina's next, which is an easy matchup, but we don't see a lot of wide receiver points because a lot of teams don't need it. I imagine the Jets will go run heavy. I feel like there's a bit of a hiccup coming here before Cincinnati. That'll be great. Then the bye, then Cleveland. So I think you can move off of Wilson for elite wide receiver 1s. Like I would take Johnston over him, Rome. I would take Sutton plus. Nico is a guy we could be looking to buy low. I didn't mention him, but yes, where you can get these receivers plus for Wilson. Pickens, we can move off of Pickens as well with Ceedee coming back. It's the same deal as Garrett with these great matchups. He's awesome. I think he's a wide receiver 2. He's scoring right now as wide receiver 6. And that's it. I mean, you want to keep Pickens because he's dominating? Go ahead. I'm not going to stop you, but if you're that type of perfectionist player where you want your team to be perfect, these guys trending up, not trending down or have a risk of trending down, Pickens is a guy you can move off of. Okay, we have Tre Tucker, where he's sitting at as a top 13 wide receiver right now. And literally any flex. I mean, Tucker for Ricky Pearsall, Tucker for Jawan Jennings, Tucker for any flex you can get. We're doing that. 6 targets last week because Bowers was out. Boom, bust. To your league mates, dude, he's a flex. Look at he has 33-point ceiling. He has scored under 10 points only twice. No. Keenan Allen, it kind of just goes back to lad is trending up. And I view this guy, Quinshon Judkins, the wide receiver 8. I think he stays right there the rest of the season. I think he's the wide receiver 1. I think Keenan Allen, they have a very late bye, week 12 bye. He's got about 2 more months to go of being fully healthy at age 33. With all these targets, all this work, all these hits, I don't know. I think he's more of a flex rest of season, a very good flex until, knock on wood, hopefully he doesn't get hurt. But he, honestly, there's a good chance he does at that age without the bye, this amount of work. Ladd is trending up, had a great game, best game of the season in week 5. And Johnson's going to stay right there. Okay. Now we talk about DeVonta Smith. We talked about A.J. Brown recently, but Smith dominated best game of the season. He is like the Zay Flowers of the Eagles, where he'll do something amazing one week, then the next week he got 2 targets. Honestly, a wide receiver 4 for me, a guy I don't love playing. I don't love DeVonta Smith on my roster. Anytime you have Smith and he gives you a chance to sell, you have to sell. And this is that chance. You have to sell him. Dalton Kincaid and Hunter Henry and Dallas Goedert. These guys are dominating the tight end position right now. And I just don't think they, continue that rest of season. Kincaid is very reliant on these big plays. We look at the snaps, not even at 60% in any of his games. When he's out there, he gets the ball, but it's easy to stop. And I think that you got to get out now. You have the bye week coming up. Atlanta's a tough matchup. I would literally sell right now for the guys we mentioned. Jake Ferguson, Tyler Warren, Trey McBride. Managed to acquire those players somehow with Kincaid. With Henry, we mentioned Henry was a sell last week, and now we have, if he didn't have the touchdown in week 4, would have had 5 points. And then we saw that at Buffalo, 6 points. Still playing all these snaps. He's great, but he's a good streamer. That's what he is. He's a good streamer. He got super lucky with the touchdowns in week 3. A lot of targets in week 1. I get it, but he's a good streamer. And Dallas Goedert, touchdown in 3 straight, 4 touchdowns in 3 games. If you can get anything for this guy, anything, you should be doing that. Now, what I want to do next is transition into, where are we? Into a bit of our own subscribers' questions in the No Expert Fantasy Football Discord. So, guys, join down below, okay? I answer every single question, as you can see, for my subscribers. Look at all the stuff you get when you join, by the way. Draft guides, okay? Draft rankings. This is obviously for preseason, but then in weeks 1 through 17, trades and trends every single week, waiver targets, rest of season rankings, weekly rankings. We have DFS, okay? All this great stuff. And then you can ask me your start sits, trade advice, draft strategy when it's that time, waiver advice, dynasty questions. We even have chats where you can just cry about your trash teams or get hype about your good ones. So let me just go ahead and answer some of these questions real quick, and we can have some actual live questions. So Sutton and Genty for Justin Jefferson, K9, Ken Walker, and Myers. So Myers is, I'm just going to kind of discard him for a second. Sutton and Genty for Jedda's, K9. I prefer Sutton here. Sutton and Genty side over Justin Jefferson, K9, and Myers. Obviously, Jefferson's the best player, but honestly, Genty might be the best player here. I prefer Sutton to Ken Walker and Myers. Okay, so there's that answer. Scroll back up. We'll move to the next one. I was talking to my guy Ryan here, one of our most awesome subs, about some other trades where he had London and things like that. You thinking rolling with Henry and ETN will be all right till Hampton gets back? Yes to the RBs. That brings up another issue. Henry has the bye in week 7. Ryan's always thinking ahead. He's great at this. Henry has a bye week 7. I'll need another RB to fill back there. So I'll say who's on waivers. Maybe the Chargers RBs we can fill in. Kendre, we talked about him earlier. So that's the question for Ryan. He'll get back to me. And again, guys, join the Discord. Link down below. Join through Dub Club and get in here, because we do this every week. We do this with start sits, trade advice, all that stuff. Should I trade Pickens or Egbuka? And if so, for who? Trade Pickens for top 6. Let's do top 8 wide receiver ROS. And I would trade Egbuka for top 12 wide receiver ROS. You know what? Let's actually do top 10. And I will go here and reference my rest of season rankings where the subs can take a look at those. Okay, 2 and 3 down bad with the Hampton injury. Need some advice on a couple moves I can make with this team. Okay, so Hampton, he's lost Hampton. He has Woody at RB2. So the RBs are bleak. We have Allen, Stefon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Puka, McMillan. Awesome. On the bench, we have Henderson and Benson. So there's help coming. I would start Henderson. I'm just going to tell him. Here we go. Start Henderson against New Orleans with no Gibson. Start Henderson, risky, but do it, I think. And then I would say trade Keenan Allen for a legit RB2. Because if we look on the bench, there are some other flex options with Matthew Golden. I think that's what we should be looking at for legit RB2 in hashtag rest of season rankings. Top 20 guy, minimum. Okay. So guys, that's kind of a little bit of a sneak peek into the Discord. You can join this. People ask their start sits. Okay, look at all these start sits every single week. Trade advice. We have waiver advice. It's going to be big today. I got to answer a lot of those questions. So guys, join up. Hope you enjoyed the video today. Good luck. Ask me anything. Okay, peace.